So I will start. So I am getting way too into mezcals lately, but this Tres Tribus.
Come on, you did so good. You did so good just a minute ago.
Yes, but this is
Tres Tribus.
Tres Tribus.
Tres Tribus.
But this is like fantastic. I just think it's really interesting. It's a little bit funky, like something that they do during fermentation. I've heard it's like totally wild. It's
Super cheesy.
really good.
It's so good.
It's so cheesy, just like me.
And wow, I mean, Mercedes, just a couple years ago you weren't even drinking tequila, and now you're in the super high-end mezcales.
I know.
How did that happen?
You did.
Let me just say too, like
I hated mezcal.
I hated tequila when I started working here,
Yeah.
like 5 years ago. So it's just been quite a journey.
What was it? The only Blanco she liked was
Vodka. True story. Yes.
That's fair, that's fair. We have Hannah drinking gin here, so.
Yes.
I didn't have a favorite to pull to the table, so I do like gin. This is a Mexican gin made in Jalisco. It's very citrusy, obviously by the name, citrus.
No,
I like
it
it.
is. It
I know
is.
most of you guys don't like gin, but for all
No,
my gin
it's
stands,
like that on over ice, like is just
it is really good.
yeah.
I used to
It's
love
almost
gin
like a
and tonics
cocktail.
before getting into tequila,
Yeah.
and that was my
So
go-to.
Yeah. So
Tasty,
she didn't
yes.
even know about gin and tonics. We were at an event and she was like, I just don't know what to drink. And I was like, have a gin and tonic. And I made her one and she was like, I love this drink.
Yeah,
you are a gin and tonic girl now. You are, yeah.
Peyton and I go out to the bars and I'm like, gin and tonic, please, with an orange with like little peel on it. It's really
So
good.
the next step is a ranch water. Now that you've enjoyed some.
So I that's usually my go-to is like a Blanco ranch water. It's like tequila soda with lime, or a water tequila with lime, or a gin and tonic. That's it. I'm a simple girl.
You know what is very used in some distilleries in Mexico? When I started to go to some distilleries and talking to the people that are working there, they all like blancos, right? But they drink the blanco with soda and a splash of Coke.
Really?
Just to add some sweetness to it. Just a splash of Coke,
So
to
a
have
range
that
water with like a
sweet-
splash of Coke.
instead of lime. Like ranch water, if like in Mexico it's just tequila and soda,
Yeah.
not lime, not anything,
Yeah.
and that's our ranch water. But in the distilleries they do that splash of
That's
Coke.
just
and
funny to me 'cause I
learned
can't
drinking
picture that.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What does the Coke like do to it? Like,
it's an extra
Just a piece of
layer
sugar.
of sweetness, but it's
Something.
very subtle. Not just because you have all of the soda in
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Because I use those Crystal Light drops sometimes, like, but it's just a little flavor. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Peyton,
All right, mine's the La Gratona. I have been obsessed with this one recently. And I don't normally love repos, but for some reason, this one just has me in a chokehold. It's so smooth and so easy to sip on, and it just is so like fresh and clean.
And you know what's funny is you kept going on and on about that repo, so I started like sampling it out more at the bar, and then, of course, we were out of it.
You ask me for a recommendation,
Everyone
that
tasted
is
it,
what I
yes,
say.
and they all
Every single
loved
time.
it. And then right when I started getting into it after a year, you telling me how much you liked it.
Yeah.
Then they're like, "Oh, we're out of
Yeah.
stock
Yeah.
though." I'm like, "What?" The first time I told them, I'm like, "Oh, we just don't have any right now." But isn't it good?
That's why see, everyone's buying it. It's so good. You
Will
gotta
say
be quicker.
Every time I like sample that out to someone, they
No,
love it.
it's awesome. It is so.
You just
Just
gotta keep a
smooth and
mental
easy to-
track on the inventory before.
Exactly.
That's
Before the recommendations.
there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling Peyton that the interesting fact about this distillery that it's owned and operated by women. Meli Barajas is the leader there, and she's great. She's she has a great team of all females in their distillery that for any activity, even like, carrying the agaves and putting them in, loading the
Oh,
oven.
so literally, like it's all women.
Yeah. Warehouse, everything, all the way
That's
from
awesome.
administration to
Okay, because I thought I heard you say that it was
operators.
all women, but not. There's never a field. workers.
They have some field, but also remember some distilleries source the
Right,
agaves
right.
from other farmers that they don't control their agricultural operations fully. There are only some distilleries or brands that own their full line. I mean, they're vertically integrated. But in this case, Meli grows agave, but also purchases from other farmers. And
No, that is a really good repo though.
Yeah.
I've tried it before. It's great.
And you're drinking your all-time favorite.
well, I'm a tequila nerd, so
Come on, JP.
But I feel like you keep looking at mine. Like,
well,
You
I
like
mean,
it.
I appreciate agave spirits and tequila. I grew into agave spirits through tequila, same as you.
yeah.
So for me,
Except
it's
that you-
been
as
same
a-
journey, a little bit longer, but I've been appreciating mezcales from some time now, and I'm not as knowledgeable in mezcal as I know I am tequila. But I learned about this brand about the same time as you did, and I really appreciate it, and it's really well made, it's really good. And of course, Cascawin is one of my favorite brands right now.
No, and
That's why I'm having their Taona.
Because we were talking that day about high proofs, and you were like, you haven't tried the 48 again? And I was like, yeah, we had it, opened it, it was amazing. Like, it really was. I had to put it in my flask. So, yeah, that was because always my friends are like, what's in your flask? I'm like,
Top secret info.
You mentioned
a lager at the bar.
Have you lost friends for
Yes.
your passion for
Yes.
tequila and mezcal?
You have? Really?
either because they go and do something stupid with my tequila, so they're
Okay,
just not
either
allowed to
that
get in my, not lost a
Or they
friend,
recommend
but
a brand.
they're not allowed to I might have a new lock on my cabinet now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm like, what are you doing with my stuff? Like, yeah, just the way people will mix it kind of drives me nuts, but they don't understand. So
Especially
they want
on
to do
the
a
mixing,
shot.
Yeah.
So they want to do a shot, and they're like, get some ice. Like, do you have any limes? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
You don't need that.
Just sip on it, and they're like.
Yeah.
So we've all agreed to just disagree, and we'll pour them. They will at least, they settle on drinking it neat, and I settle on not slamming it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
everything's happening wrong. They're like, because they cheers and then they want to do this, and then so I just don't finish, and they're like, well, that's bad luck. I'm like, good.
Give it to me. Bring it on.
I'm like, I'm not slamming it. It's too good.
Yeah.
So Peyton, I was there on your first trip to Mexico, and you had just turned 21 during that trip.
No, I wasn't even 21. I wasn't even 21.
Okay, so you were legal in
Mexico, yes. Good in
Right, 'cause
Mexico. We
18
were good.
What, we were 19.
Yeah, it was probably 19.
I saw pictures of her like with a bowl of
drinking.
just like
Best thing ever.
What was that you had?
That was, I can't remember what it was called, but it literally was in like a soup bowl. Yeah. And it had the sliced fruit and the repo on the side that you poured in, and it was amazing.
So it's like a cantarito, but in a cazuela.
It looks.
It's called a cazuela, and it's a cantarito cocktail. Same
We're getting one
ingredients,
of those
all
in
of the
January.
fruit. Yeah. All of the fruit in there. And
Yes.
you have to straw.
Oh my gosh. That was.
But that was your first immersion into the tequila world, in the distilleries and tasting. And what did you think? What did you learn that made you change a little bit of your perspective about tequila and just this? Like Tim and Gonzo were saying how a bad rep tequila gets or still gets in some. So how did that change your?
For sure. And I mean, I feel like I appreciated it even more being so young, because obviously I was used to crap tequila. Like at 19, I'm not buying expensive tequila, that's made well. And so trying actual good quality tequila that was made properly and took all the correct steps, like it was such a difference. And it was so cool to see all the fields, and especially the time of year we went. I think it was in October or something like that. The weather was just so beautiful. So it was seriously one of the coolest experiences probably of my life.
That's awesome.
It's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
It's so cool because I feel like if she was 19, like I wasn't a heavy drinker, but like that was like college years, like where normally people like are buying the crap tequila, like the Hornitos.
And drinking
So
it the wrong
you kind
way.
of got privileged, like getting introduced to really premium
Oh,
tequilas
for
at an
sure.
early age.
Yeah.
Where like, whereas me, I'm still drinking that. So like I didn't get into it until like 22.
Oh, that's why I hated.
Yeah.
I was in my 40s when I started working here.
Yeah, it's
and
just
and I
interesting.
hated tequila, and I hadn't touched it in 30 years or
Yeah.
20 whatever years, a lot of years.
So like
And,
there's
yeah.
Peyton where it's like introduced very young, so like, you know what good tequila is. But then like there's there's you where it's like
You definitely was lucky on
I
that.
tell the story all the time. I feel like people that come in and, you know, as we go through like the like doing the tastings, like the lineup, you know, and working our way through the aged spirits, they're like, well, I never knew that tequila was anything but just clear and gross. Like, I'm like, yeah. But even in my head, like when I started working here, that's what I pictured, like that horrible, cheap, we drank it too
Literally
fast,
just
the wrong
the
way.
Cuervo Gold, like that is what it was. That
Yes.
you buy the margarita mix that's right next to it
Horrible.
that says mixed
And then
with Cuervo Gold,
everyone,
and
like
that was that.
I don't know why that ever got started, like the lick, slam, suck, and just like drink the whole bottle, like between, you know, the party, like just too fast in 1 hour, and then it's never gonna end.
Well, I also
Yeah.
think it's like going out to bars, like that's all they have, like is the Milagro or like just the well stuff that we are trained to just shoot it back, suck the lime, and then like lick the salt, like that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was in
At that point, you're not there to enjoy it. You're
Yeah, but that's
Still
that's,
does that, and I refuse. I'm like,
Yeah,
nah.
but that's like going out though. Like Peyton and I go out. We're
Yeah.
25 years old. Like we're gonna go out and go to bars, and we look at the tequilas behind the bar, and it's like nothing like great. Like we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we have to settle.
And I guess Milagro, because I did that the other night. Like I didn't want to be prissy.
It's
fine.
Yeah,
So I was like, I'll
it's
just have a
fine.
Milagro, and she's like, all right, chilled, and I was like, no, just straight, and she's like, it should always be chilled.
We're
You're
like-
not gonna like it. I'm like, I'll just have it just room temp.
Little do you know, lady, I'm
right.
a professional.
Whatever it is you doubt about the quality of tequila, you better have it chilled because you know it's not gonna taste that bad.
But I have another secret. It's like, I got a flask, so I just put my own tequila in there.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, if restaurants aren't going to carry good tequila, then I'm
Yeah,
forced.
You have to.
Yeah, they're
You have
forcing
to.
my
They can't
hand.
say anything about
So
it.
Mercedes, how do you explain to the people that come to the tasting room and you are educating them about tequilas and they want to learn more about other agave expressions like mezcal? Like, how was it for you, and how do you find that it's easy for people to understand what's the difference? And
So it's just funny. Like I find, you know, I listen to a lot of different people talk about. I don't know. I guess everyone in maybe in my later years, like I've found my own way. I've just found that I do it all through tasting. So I just pour a couple things and I just lay it out there. I'm like, just taste it. I don't want to tell you a lot about anything. I just want to see what you like and don't like, and then I'll take you down that path. You know, so this
Yeah,
is
'cause
like
you don't
this-
wanna, like, sway their opinion, like,
Yes, and I don't
say
want to like
what you
confuse them or
taste
get
and
like
then-
over like explain anything that they might not be interested in. And sometimes when you start talking about mezcal, they're just scared. So I always start off like low smoke, always. Just there are a few random people that are like, I want it really smoky. They're going from like an extra Indian to like super smoky. I'm like, what's happening? Like
Extra
but-
smoke.
Yeah, but as soon as they say that, and it always blows my mind. Like, so I know that my palate means nothing. Like it's like art, right? So everyone's got their own way, and just finding someone's way always makes me happy. And there's no explanation to it, and no two people are the same. Even buddies that come in together that tend to like a lot of the same things.
It's
There's
palate
that
are
one thing I
so
pour, and they
weird.
like are a hard like on opposite sides of the rainbow about it.
Everyone's palate is so
And I
different.
just I find that so interesting. So I honestly I really enjoy just watching people taste. And just understanding that
Yeah.
there's no right answer.
And their initial
Yeah.
like facial expression never
Yes.
lies. Like they can tell you anything they want, but when you're
Yes.
watching their face,
Oh yeah, that. Oh, I hate when they get this sour face. I'm like, sorry, sorry. I don't want to do that to you, but
I love just learning and hearing you talk about this experiences you've had with tequila, because I was born in a culture where tequila is a given, and girls or guys, when we start drinking, you have tequila, and you have good tequila to try and to drink. So we didn't evolve from bad tequila to liking a good one and discovering. No, but my point is, I've heard people experience and talk about the tequilas that they're enjoying in a culture that tequila it's a given, but it's saturated and it's dominated by brands that are not the best examples or the best ambassadors of great tequila. But people just settle with that and they say, okay, this is a good and fair tequila to drink. Like Cristalinos, for example. To me, that's the perfect example of how tequila gained new markets in Mexico, and it grew from what it was a market that was completely saturated and no growth at all. In some regions of the country, with Cristalinos, just exploded. Consumption of tequila went up the roof because it's just so easy to drink and so kind of sweet. And
people come in all the time and they're like, can I get that Blanco? And they're like, no, the one I had was not like this. And then I'm like, inside, and I pour them a Cristalino without saying one word. They're like, yes. I'm like, oh, I see what kind of Blanco you're drinking.
But for us, it was kind of odd to have a category like that born. And I don't know, for you, maybe because you're still discovering tequila in general, you just think that it's another expression. How is that? How hard it is to, because one thing is to educate the consumer in tequila in general, and another is to explain about Cristalinos and a new class of tequilas coming up.
So just trying to even sum it up, and I tell people, like, literally, like, there's no way that I'm going to sit with you for 30 minutes and make you understand anything. Like, it's just, because even now, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and when people leave here, they're like, wow, thanks for all your knowledge. I'm like, me? Because I just feel like they can't be talking to me. Like,
but there's a lot of information. I feel like 30 minutes is definitely not a lot.
And then mezcal's even like, I'm like, So I'm still like tiptoeing around that. But it's just, I think it's just such a beautiful spirit. I love the fact that it's the only one you can see from start to end, right? So it's like, you don't get to see a whiskey when it's clear. Like, so this is the only one, because I mean, I would assume it's probably undrinkable.
Vodka and gin are not aged.
Right. So it's like such an interesting, and it also blows my mind how many people come into the store that they're like, I've been drinking tequila for years and years. Like, I know. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you drink? They're like, tequila. I'm like, but do you drink, is it aged?
That's so helpful.
They're like, no, I just drink like the regular tequila.
Like margaritas.
Yeah, like margaritas. And so right then it's like, okay. So it's like, all right, so let's just go taste some stuff. And again, like, that's my best way to relate to people, like, not so much through talking, because I can obviously tell they're just, master tequila drinkers, that they don't even, but they don't even understand that there's all these different.
I know. Most of the time they're like, wait, it can be aged?
Yeah, they're like, no. They're like, what is that, a bourbon? I'm like, no, this is all tequila.
Do you know what still impresses me? And I've heard, and I've talked to people from Mexico that don't know that tequila can only be produced in Mexico.
Come on.
Really?
People
Really?
in Mexico don't know
like,
that.
No,
yeah, I've met people here
Guess
in
what?
Florida.
Everyone thinks in the back we're making tequila all day. I'm serious. They're like, so you're making it right back there right now? I'm like, no. But that's weird to me that in Mexico they don't know that.
Yeah, it's one of the facts and like basic facts about tequila that still the mass market don't know about it. The public
in Mexico though. Wait, you're talking about actually in Mexico?
Yeah, even
not
in
like
Mexico.
in like Mexico, Florida.
Even in
like,
Mexico, yeah.
Mexico, Florida?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like in Mexico they don't even know that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like whatever you're into, and I mean, that's just crazy to me. It's also crazy to me that, like, the ABV like norm, it's still like when I see the bottles coming out of Mexico that are 38%, in U.S. is 40. Yeah. I just always assume that I don't know, like it should be higher there.
Yeah.
Like they're the
Why?
ones doing it where it's.
Why is that
Why is
actually?
that?
What, like,
Why?
Great question.
Why?
Well, traditionally in Mexico, it's been historically tequilas were bottled at 45, and old school tequilas were bottled at higher proofs than they were now. But with time and with the shortage of agave that happened many years ago, it has happened several times because it's a cyclic, like agricultural
Yeah.
product, and it comes ups and downs in terms of prices. So there have been some agave crises throughout the years. And in some of those, with the tequila demand and production was growing so much, that was one of the measures that the producers took to make it more efficient. To say, let's bottle it at a lower proof, so you can have more yield out of the agaves.
right.
And it's settled at 38. And the tequila norm says that you can bottle it from 35 to 55.
35.
So there are some cristalinos in Mexico that are bottled at 35%. So
I thought 38 was the
But
minimum.
even
No.
35, like so that's still
That's
considered
why-
though like a 100% agave,
yes.
even with that much water added to
Yeah.
it.
So I've had people come in where it's like, okay, I took a trip to Mexico, tried this specific brand, and then come here and try it, and they hate it. Is that because it's stronger and
Yeah.
it's just smoother there, kind of?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the reason.
See, but that just like, it just makes me think because as I've gotten into like, when I enjoyed one thing, like the higher proofs, almost like it's so much more agave forward.
Yeah.
So that's, because I would think like a 35%. Like we just got a mezcal in that's 40, which the one we really like, that Rosa Luna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's very, you don't usually see a mezcal that low, like at 40, right?
The true mezcaleros say that if it's below 45, it's not good mezcal.
Because that's what I heard too, and like the little, like you shake it around. Oh, and remember how, was it that one that they kept shaking and like,
If you
they're
shake it, and there's like air
like all
bubbles
the
in it.
bubbles, and they're like, and how long the bubbles
Maybe you
take
can
to
shake
come
our
up?
tequilas and your mezcales and see what happens.
All right.
I'm shaking my Cascahuil Tahona and I don't have a lot of
So hers is bubbly.
Mine, yours was the least bubbly. Yours was the most.
Yeah,
Mine
what
was
you got
big.
going on over
I'm not
there?
gonna participate.
What you got going on over there?
Yeah, not really bubbly.
Yeah.
That's
And what did you say
measured
too? I
in
remember you
mezcaleros.
like telling me we were talking about one certain type of agave, but like the
Jabalí.
like the stickiness of it, like almost makes it hard to work with.
The jabalí.
Yes, yes, Jabali.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it has more saponins or saponinas.
Yeah.
It's a component that is almost
Like
the
glue,
same base word as soap.
Isn't that
Comes
what
from the
makes it
same
like
word.
bitter, kind of, the tequila?
What happens is that it creates a lot of foam during the fermentation. And if it's not well cooked, even more foam. So sometimes to control the cooking process in the mezcales, which is very artisanal, and you have the underground pits, it's not evenly cooked, and sometimes you have raw parts of the agave in there, so it creates a lot of foam during the fermentation, and in distillation it can come just bubbling out of the alembic or pot that you're using to distill it, and it's very hard to control.
Really?
That happens with the autoclave, with the jabalí.
But that one type in particular,
Yeah.
not so much the others. Like
No, that one.
so that one, even if you took it in a clear bottle and shook it, it wouldn't.
Fizz.
What I think is the bubbles are the oiliness also, and the thickness of the mezcal has to do with why it forms some bubbles. But it's curious how there are some tequileros that in their distilleries they still they measure with. Mezcaleros measure by everything by their senses, their nose, their eyes. They see if there's certain kind of amount
Which
of
makes
bubbles.
sense,
They say,
yeah.
And because they're so rustic, so artisanal, and tequila, they now have, they have lab instruments and stuff they use to measure correctly the stuff. So
Yeah.
that's the main difference.
But I would assume like the smells like coming off the still, like with tequila, like there has to be like you're like okay.
Yeah.
Now it's good. Like heads are off. Like we're into the heart. Like
Absolutely.
and
It's still part
I
science,
just can't
part
wait to
art.
go down there and like see. I'm gonna like really get in there.
You are gonna geek out. You're gonna
Yeah.
be trying to like swim in
They're
the.
like, "Where's Mercedes?" They're like, "Oh, she's in the fermentation tank."
Fermentation tanks, just the snorkel
They go
on.
up like the swamp.
She took a dive.
Yeah, like yeah.
This bottle was fermented with Mercedes.
With Mercedes. Yes, extra special single
Not
barrel
the
edition.
car.
Yeah. We had to cut it up from all the rest. It's useless, but we're just gonna call it a single barrel, real special.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. And I'm gonna take JP. I'm gonna be like, I'm with JP, bruh. You know, he's got street cred.
They're gonna
Get
bind
special
you for life.
access
We're
and-
gonna-
Who is this trick?
Fine, I'm JP's best friend.
Ban out of that place.
And then they'll see his dimple. They'll be like, okay, JP, come in.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to. No, I'm very excited. Like, super looking forward to that trip. Like, I feel like once, because like you've kind of already been there, we've never been there.
Yeah.
You grew up there, but I feel like once we see it, and like Keith always talks about, like you just smell it. You just wake up and you smell it in the air. Like you smell roasted agave. It's all around you. I don't want to eat any crickets when I'm there.
You want to eat cricket?
No, that's more in
If I eat a
Oaxaca.
cricket, you have to eat a cricket.
Just don't tell
Come
me.
on, the cow tongue and the pig throat, and yeah,
love the
you
cow
have to. You have to. It's like a rite of
Don't ever
passage.
tell me.
It's a
Just
rite
say
of
it in
passage.
Spanish. Just say it in Spanish.
Just say yes. Just nod.
Yes,
smile.
and just say it in Spanish.
Carnitas
And
is
just
a
be like,
must.
this is a whatever taco. I'm like,
Also, by the way, when that cocktail you had in Mexico, that was in Carnitas Jaime, right across the street from Vivanco, in Arandas.
Okay.
Yeah, when we had the mariachi bands.
yeah. Oh.
Famous
Were you dancing
1414.
there too?
Come on.
So there, a mariachi band. Was that last Day of the
I
Dead?
think it was last day of the dead, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So they came
Was
in.
it Cinco de Mayo?
And they like
It was Cinco de Mayo.
they
Oh,
like
maybe it was Cinco de Mayo.
yeah. Remember they like grabbed you up from the back and spun
Oh,
you
yeah.
around.
They danced.
Loved that guy.
You really did.
So salud.
Goodness.
Salute.
Salud.